Black woman shelters a freezing Hells Angels dad for one night. Days later, dozens of bikers arrive. Before we start today's story, comment below where you're watching from and hit subscribe if you haven't already. You won't want to miss what's next. It was a snowy, cold night in a small town called Oak Ridge. The wind howled and blew snow across the streets like white waves in a storm. The storm had come fast, stronger than anyone thought it would. It knocked down trees and power lines. The lights in houses went out one by one until the whole town was dark. It was so cold outside that people said it felt like the air itself could freeze your breath. At the very end of Maple Street stood a small, old house. Inside that house lived an old lady named Evelyn Brooks. She was 71 years old and lived all by herself. Her husband had died 8 years ago, and her only son, Lucas, had gone far away. He had gotten into trouble and stopped calling her. Evelyn missed him every single day. That night, Evelyn sat in her rocking chair with 2 blankets wrapped tightly around her. A small camping lantern flickered on the kitchen table, giving off a warm yellow light. The furnace had stopped working 3 hours ago when the power went out. The house was getting colder by the minute. She could see her breath when she exhaled. Her hip hurt badly. The doctor said she needed surgery, but Evelyn didn't have enough money. Her hands were stiff from arthritis. Some mornings she couldn't even open a jar or button her own shirt. Getting old was hard. Her mama used to say, "Getting old isn't for weak folks." That always made Evelyn smile a little, even when it hurt to move. The wind outside screamed against the windows. It sounded like ghosts crying. Evelyn tried not to think about how lonely she was. She thought about her son and prayed he was safe somewhere. She pulled the blankets tighter around her shoulders. The storm made the house shake. Then bang, bang, bang. Someone was pounding on her front door. Evelyn's eyes flew open. Her heart started beating fast. Who could be out there at 2 o'clock in the morning? The storm was too strong for anyone to be walking around. The pounding came again. Bang, bang, bang. Even louder this time. Her hands started to shake. She was scared. 3 months ago, someone had broken into her house through the back window. They had stolen her grandmother's silver tea set. The police had told her, "You're lucky you weren't home, ma'am. These thieves can be dangerous." After that, Evelyn had put 5 locks on her front door. She checked them twice every night. And now, someone was out there again. Her heart felt like it was stuck in her throat. She whispered softly, "Go away. Please just go away." But the pounding didn't stop. She had to know who it was. Slowly, she picked up her cane and began walking toward the door. Her bad hip ached, but she kept going. The hallway felt long and dark. She could hear the wind howling outside. When she reached the door, she stopped and listened. Then she looked through the peephole and gasped. Outside stood a huge man, tall and broad like a giant. Snow swirled all around him. His clothes were covered in ice. His face was rough and tired. His hair was long and wet. His arms had dark tattoos that reached up to his neck. And on his black leather jacket, she saw something that made her knees feel weak, a skull with wings. The words around it said, "Hells Angels." Evelyn stepped back fast. Oh no. A biker gang. She had heard stories about them on the news. Why was one at her door? Was he dangerous? Was he here to hurt her? The man hit the door again. "Please," he shouted. "I know someone's in there." Evelyn's heart pounded. She wanted to call the police, but her phone was in the kitchen. Her cell phone was in the bedroom charging. She couldn't get to them without passing the front windows. Then the man shouted again, his voice full of panic. "Please, I'll leave, but just take him. Please, take my son. He's only 4 years old." Evelyn froze. A son? Slowly she leaned forward and looked through the peephole again. This time she saw the man was holding something in his arms, a small bundle wrapped in blankets. The blankets were wet and frozen. The man was crying. "He's so cold," he said. "He's not breathing right. Please, I'm begging you. You don't have to let me in. Just take him." Evelyn covered her mouth with her hand. She could see now that the man wasn't trying to hurt anyone. He was terrified. And the small shape in his arms, a little boy, wasn't moving. Something deep inside Evelyn stirred. She remembered that sound from long ago. When her baby Lucas was small, he had almost died from pneumonia. He had made that same weak little sound, that tiny cry for air. Her heart took over. She stopped thinking about fear. Her hands started unlocking the first lock, then the second, then the third. "Thank you," the man cried. "Thank you, God, thank you." Her fingers were cold and stiff, but she kept going until the last lock turned. She opened the door. The wind hit her like a slap. Snow blew into the hallway. And standing there was the biggest man she'd ever seen. But all she could look at was the boy in his arms. The little boy's face was gray-blue. His lips were dark purple. He looked like a frozen doll. The man said, "His name is Oliver. He's 4. We got stuck 3 miles back when my bike broke. I knocked on 6 houses. No one opened the door. But he's dying. My son is dying." Evelyn looked at his tears, then at the child. Oliver's chest barely moved. His little hand hung limp. Evelyn wasn't scared anymore. She was full of courage. "Get inside," she said firmly. "Both of you now." The man, whose name was Ethan Reed, stumbled into the house, nearly falling. Evelyn tried to steady him. "To the kitchen," she said. "Quickly." Her cane tapped fast on the floor as she led him to the kitchen. Snow and water dripped from their clothes, but Evelyn didn't care. She swept her mail and glasses off the table. "Lay him here," she said. Ethan gently placed Oliver on the table. Up close, Evelyn saw how big and strong Ethan was. His hands were rough and covered in scars, but his eyes were full of fear and love. Evelyn leaned over the boy and listened to his chest. The heartbeat was weak, fluttery like a trapped bird. His breathing was fast and shallow. His skin felt like ice. "How long has he been like this?" she asked. "I don't know," Ethan said, shaking. "Maybe 20 or 30 minutes. He was talking at first, then he stopped. I tried to warm him, but—" "When they stop crying, that's bad," Evelyn said. "We need to warm him up slowly. Too fast can stop his heart." She moved quickly to the closet and pulled out every blanket she could find. She even took out the thick wool blanket that had belonged to her husband, Harold. She hadn't used it since he died because it made her miss him too much. But tonight, it didn't matter. Oliver needed it. Back in the kitchen, she began taking off Oliver's wet clothes. Ethan watched helplessly, his hands trembling. "What's his name?" Evelyn asked again. "Oliver," Ethan said. "Oliver Reed." "Okay, Oliver," Evelyn said softly. "We're going to help you, sweetheart." She unwrapped his wet jacket and jeans. His shoes were torn, and his little jacket was too thin for the freezing cold. She said to Ethan, "Go to the bathroom. Second door on the left. There's a hairdryer by the sink. Bring it here fast." Ethan ran down the hall and came back quickly. Evelyn plugged in the dryer. "Set it to low," she said. "Not hot, just warm." "Is he going to—" Ethan couldn't finish the question. "I don't know," Evelyn said honestly. "But we'll try everything we can." She wrapped Oliver in Harold's wool blanket and 2 more. Then she used the hairdryer to blow warm air across Oliver's chest, moving it slowly so she wouldn't burn him. "Slow and steady," she said. "Talk to him," she told Ethan. "Say his name. Let him know you're here." Ethan knelt beside the table, his big hands trembling. "Oliver, buddy, it's Daddy. I'm right here. You're safe. This nice lady is helping us. You're going to be okay, okay?" He was crying, but he didn't wipe his tears. Evelyn kept the dryer moving. 1 minute passed, then 5, then 10. Her back hurt, her hips ached, but she didn't stop. "Come on, baby," she whispered. "Stay with us." After 15 minutes, Oliver's chest fluttered a little. "That's it," Evelyn said. That's it, sweetheart. After 20 minutes, he coughed. Just a small sound. Ethan gasped. Oliver. After 30 minutes, he coughed again, stronger this time. His eyelids fluttered. His tiny chest began to move more evenly. After 45 minutes, the color began to come back to his cheeks. His skin turned from blue to pink. His breathing grew steady. Evelyn smiled through her tears. Ethan laughed and cried at the same time, hugging his son's hand. You did it, Ethan said, looking at Evelyn. You saved him. No, she said softly. We both did. The wind still screamed outside, but inside the little kitchen, warmth and light filled the room. Oliver opened his eyes and looked around sleepily. Daddy, he whispered. Ethan choked back a sob. Yeah, buddy. Daddy's here. Evelyn felt her heart fill with warmth she hadn't felt in years. Helping this man and his little boy had brought back something she thought was gone: hope. The storm went on all night. Evelyn gave them dry clothes, soup, and blankets. Ethan sat by Oliver's side, watching him breathe. Before morning came, the little boy was sleeping peacefully. A few days later, when the roads were clear again, Evelyn woke to the sound of engines outside. She looked out her window and gasped. Hundreds of bikers were parked on her street. Big, loud motorcycles lined up in front of her house. And every one of those bikers took off their helmets and waved to her. Ethan stood in front, smiling proudly. They had come to thank her for saving one of their own. That night in the storm, Evelyn Brooks had opened her door out of kindness. She had saved a child's life. But what she didn't know was that her act of love would change her own life forever. For the first time in years, her house didn't feel so quiet or empty. It felt alive again, with love, friendship, and warmth. When Oliver's eyes finally opened, Evelyn had to stop drying his hair. Her hand was shaking so much she could hardly hold the hairdryer anymore. Daddy, Oliver whispered. His voice was so soft, like a tiny breeze. Ethan, his dad, dropped to his knees beside the table. He grabbed Oliver's little hand and pressed it against his face. I'm here, buddy. I'm right here. You're okay now, he said, his voice breaking. Oliver blinked slowly. His eyes looked past his dad and landed on Evelyn. He frowned, confused. Who's the lady? He asked in a small voice. Evelyn felt her heart twist. That little scared voice made her chest ache. I'm Mrs. Brooks, she said softly. But you can call me Miss Evelyn. Oliver looked at her with wide eyes. Are you going to make us leave? Like the other houses? The question hit Evelyn like a slap. A 4-year-old asking that, already knowing people could be mean, could shut doors in his face. She thought about her 5 locks, her fear, how she had almost left them outside in the snow. No, sweetheart, she said, her throat tight. You're staying right here until you're warm and safe. You and your daddy both. I promise. She touched Oliver's forehead gently. His skin felt warm now instead of icy cold. I promise, she whispered again. Oliver's eyes filled with tears. Thank you, he said. Ethan made a choking sound. He pressed his face into Oliver's small hand and started crying. Big, deep sobs that shook his whole body. Evelyn turned away to give him a little space. She went to the stove and put a kettle of water to heat. Her hands were steadier now. The scary part was over, but the sadness in the room stayed heavy. Behind her, she could still hear Ethan talking to Oliver. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm so sorry. Daddy should have checked the weather. I should have planned better. His voice broke. I almost lost you. It's okay, Daddy, Oliver said softly. You found help. You found Miss Evelyn. Evelyn closed her eyes. It had been years since anyone said her name like that. Kindly, like it mattered. The kettle began to whistle. She made chamomile tea, something calm and warm, and brought 2 cups to the table. Ethan's eyes were red, but he wasn't crying anymore. He looked exhausted. Thank you, he said, taking the cup in both hands. I don't know how to. I can't thank you enough. Drink, Evelyn said simply. She sat down slowly. Her hip ached from standing. It was after 3 in the morning. Now that everything was calm, she looked at Ethan closely for the first time. Past his tattoos. Past his big leather jacket. She saw a man who was tired, scared, and trying his best. His hands trembled as he held the tea. He kept glancing at Oliver every few seconds, afraid his boy might vanish. When's the last time you ate? Evelyn asked. Ethan blinked, surprised. This morning, I think. Oliver had lunch. I made sure he ate. But you didn't, Evelyn said. He looked down. We're low on money. I will make sure Oliver eats first. Evelyn sighed. She stood up again, even though her body was sore. She opened the refrigerator and took out a bowl of leftover chicken soup. Thank goodness for gas stoves that still worked when the power was out. You can't take care of a child if you don't take care of yourself, she said gently. I know, Ethan whispered. I know. Everything just fell apart so fast. Evelyn stirred the soup and waited. Ethan began to talk, his voice quiet and tired. My wife died 8 months ago. Cancer. By the time they found it, it was too late. She fought hard, but it still took her. His eyes stared into the cup, not seeing it. 3 weeks after her funeral, I lost my job at the garage. My boss said I was too distracted. Then, last week, we got evicted. I couldn't keep up with the rent. Evelyn set a bowl of soup in front of him. Eat, she said softly. Ethan picked up the spoon but didn't eat right away. We've been staying with friends. My buddy Aaron, he's in the Hells Angels with me, told me about a rally 2 towns over. Said we could crash there for a week. But then the storm came. My bike hit black ice, and I went down. I carried Oliver through the snow, house to house. Nobody would let us in. People saw the jacket and thought I was in trouble. Because of the jacket, Evelyn said quietly. Yeah. Because of the jacket, Ethan said, a sad smile on his face. Finally, he took a bite of the soup. You know what the Hells Angels are in my chapter? He said after a moment. Just men with nowhere else to go. Aaron lost both his legs in Afghanistan. Leo's wife left him and took the kids. Victor is trying to stay sober. We look out for each other. We do good things too. Charity rides for veterans, soup kitchens, toy drives at Christmas. But people only see the leather and think we're bad. He ate more soup. They don't see that I worked hard to care for my family. That I sat beside my wife's hospital bed every single night. That I've never done drugs, never hurt anyone. Evelyn sat down again, her tea now cold. Your wife? She asked softly. What was she like? Ethan's face changed. It softened, lit by a memory. She was amazing. Smart. Funny. She was a librarian. She used to tell me, you've got the biggest heart hidden under the scariest face. He smiled, but it hurt. Oliver asks about her every day. I tell him she's in heaven, but he's only 4. I don't think he understands. You can't explain death to a child, Evelyn said quietly. You just love them through it. Ethan looked up. You've lost someone too, haven't you? Evelyn nodded. My husband, Harold. 8 years ago. A drunk driver hit him. 1 minute I was cooking dinner. The next 2 policemen were at my door. I'm sorry, Ethan said softly. So am I, Evelyn said. I also have a son, Lucas. He's alive, but I haven't seen him in 5 years. What happened? Ethan asked. Evelyn hadn't spoken about Lucas in years. But tonight, with this stranger, the words came. Lucas was a good boy, she said. Smart. Got a full scholarship to college. I was so proud. But then he met the wrong people. Started with marijuana, then pills, then worse. He dropped out. He started stealing from me. First small things, then bigger. He took my husband's watch, my grandmother's jewelry, even the TV. She paused, her hands trembling slightly. "The last time I saw him, he broke into my house while I was at church. He was looking for money. He smashed Harold's urn." Her voice broke. "When I came home, he was passed out on the floor. I called an ambulance. When he woke up, he screamed at me. Said I ruined his life. Then he left. I haven't seen him since." "Jesus," Ethan whispered. "I keep my door unlocked during the day," Evelyn said quietly, "just in case he ever comes home." They sat in silence for a long moment. Outside, the wind howled and snow slammed against the windows. Inside, the little kitchen glowed softly under lantern light. "I was scared when I saw you," Evelyn said finally. "The tattoos. The jacket. After the break-in 3 months ago, I was too scared to trust anyone. I almost didn't open the door. But then I heard Oliver cry. He sounded like my Lucas when he was sick. I couldn't leave a child outside to die." Ethan's eyes filled again. "You saved him," he said. "If you hadn't opened the door—" "Don't," Evelyn interrupted gently. "Don't think about that. He's here. He's safe. That's what matters." Ethan wiped his face. "Why are people like you so rare? Why couldn't anyone else see that I was just a dad trying to save his son?" "Because people are afraid," Evelyn said. "Fear makes us cruel, makes us close our doors. I know. I've done it too. But sometimes, the right thing is the scary thing." She took a deep breath. "You know what I see when I look at you now? I see a father who carried his child 3 miles through a snowstorm. A man who kept knocking even after 6 people said no. That's not a monster. That's a father." Ethan covered his face and began to cry again. Evelyn reached across the table and touched his arm gently. "Your wife chose right," she said softly. "She left Oliver with a good man." They sat like that for a while. 2 people, strangers, sharing the same kind of pain and kindness. Finally, Ethan lifted his head. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course," Evelyn said. "When your husband died and your son left, how did you keep going?" Evelyn thought. The house felt still and small. "Most days I didn't know," she said finally. "I just got up because lying in bed felt like giving up. Harold used to say life keeps moving whether we're ready or not. So we have to move with it." Ethan nodded slowly. "Naomi used to say that too. She said bad things happen, but you can't let them win." "She was a smart woman," Evelyn said. Ethan looked at his sleeping boy. "I just want to give him a good life. I want him to remember his mom. I want him to know he was loved. But I don't know if I can do it alone." "You can," Evelyn said firmly. "You got him here tonight. You carried him through the storm. You did the impossible. That's what fathers do. They find a way." Ethan smiled weakly. "I need to get back on my feet. Find a job. A place to live. Get Oliver into preschool. I just need time." "And help," Evelyn added. "Nobody can live alone." Ethan nodded again. "The Hell's Angels have been helping, but I can't keep taking from them. They have their own struggles." Evelyn stood slowly. Her joints popped, but she ignored it. She went to a drawer and pulled out a small card. "This is Pastor Jonathan at Oak Ridge Community Church," she said, handing him the card. "He runs a program for families in trouble. Housing, jobs, childcare. No judging. No questions." Ethan stared at the card like it was gold. "Thank you," he said. "Thank you so much." "When you get on your feet," Evelyn said, "you pass it forward. You help someone else. That's how we keep each other going." Oliver moved under the blankets, making a small sound. Ethan rushed over, worry flashing across his face. "Hey, buddy," he whispered. "You okay?" "Thirsty," Oliver mumbled. Evelyn smiled softly and went to pour him some warm water. Ethan lifted Oliver into his arms, cradling him gently. The storm still raged outside, but inside, The little kitchen was safe and full of warmth. For the first time in a long while, Evelyn didn't feel so alone. She looked at the two of them, father and son, and thought maybe the world still had some good left in it. Maybe all people needed was one open door. Evelyn poured water into a small cup and brought it over. Ethan helped Oliver sit up just enough to drink. The little boy's color looked good now. He was breathing normally. The scary part was over. "Can we stay here tonight, Miss Evelyn?" Oliver asked, his voice small and hopeful. "It's really warm here, and you're really nice." Evelyn looked at the little boy who had almost died on her kitchen table, and at his dad who had carried him through the snowstorm, never giving up. She thought about Lucas, about the little boy he used to be before drugs took him away, and about the grandchildren she would never have. "Yes," she said. "You can stay just for tonight, until the storm passes and you're both rested." "Thank you," Oliver said, already closing his eyes. Ethan mouthed the words over his son's head. "Thank you." Evelyn nodded. She felt tears in her eyes but blinked them back. She had opened her door to strangers in the storm. And in that moment, she felt like she had found something she thought she had lost forever. Purpose. The storm finally stopped around dawn. Evelyn woke in her rocking chair, stiff and sore. Gray light came through the kitchen window. The camping lantern had gone out during the night. At the table, Ethan sat slumped in his chair. One arm was stretched protectively across Oliver, who was still sleeping under the blankets. Ethan's head was tilted back, mouth open, deep asleep. Evelyn watched them for a moment. Father and son were still here. Still safe. She slowly pushed herself up. Her joints ached, her hips hurt, and a sharp pain went down her leg. She held the counter until it stopped. The house was freezing. The power was still out. She needed to start the fire in the wood stove. Ethan had said he could help, but he looked so tired. Let him sleep a little longer. Evelyn moved to the window and looked outside. Snow had buried everything. The street was hidden under big white piles. Mrs. Gloria's fence had fallen. A tree branch was across Henderson's driveway. Ethan's motorcycle was under the snow at the end of her walkway. He must have pushed it there before carrying Oliver through the storm. "Miss Evelyn," Oliver said. He was awake, his dark eyes watching her. "Good morning, sweetheart," Evelyn said quietly. "How do you feel?" "Better." "Warm," Oliver said, looking around the kitchen like a curious little explorer. "Is it still night time?" "No, baby. It's morning." The storm made everything dark before. "Oh," Oliver said. He carefully sat up, trying not to wake his dad. "Miss Evelyn, can I ask you something?" he said. "Of course," Evelyn said. "Why did you help us? The other people didn't." Evelyn sat down across from him. "Because it was the right thing to do." "But Daddy said people are scared of us." "Because of his jacket." "People are scared of what they don't understand," Evelyn said. "But fear isn't a good reason to turn away someone who needs help." Oliver thought about it. "My mommy wasn't scared of Daddy's jacket. She said it was just clothes." "Your mommy was right. She's in heaven now," Evelyn said gently. "Daddy says she's watching us, but I can't see her." "I know, baby. My husband is in heaven, too. I can't see him either, but I still feel him sometimes." "Really?" Oliver asked. "Really. When I make his favorite soup, I feel him. When I sit in his chair, I feel him. Love doesn't go away just because someone does." Oliver thought about that. "I miss my mommy." "I know you do. Daddy misses her, too. He cries sometimes when he thinks you're sleeping." Evelyn reached across and gently touched Oliver's hand. "Your daddy loves you very much. You know that, right?" "I know. He always makes sure I eat first, even when he's hungry." The way Oliver said it, so used to it, broke Evelyn's heart. Ethan stirred and opened his eyes. He looked confused for a moment, then saw Oliver awake and alert. Relief washed over his face. "Hey, buddy. You okay?" "I'm good, Daddy." Miss Evelyn was telling me about her husband in heaven. Ethan looked at Evelyn over Oliver's head. That was nice of her. I should make breakfast, Evelyn said, pushing herself up. The power is still out, but I've got a gas stove. Let me help. Ethan stood up. Please. You've done so much already. You know how to cook? Evelyn asked. Naomi taught me. Said I needed to pull my weight. Ethan gave a sad smile. I'm pretty good with pancakes. Pancakes? Oliver's face lit up. Daddy makes the best pancakes. Well then, Evelyn said, you'd better show me what you've got. They worked together in the cold kitchen. Evelyn got out flour, eggs, and milk. Ethan found the mixing bowl without asking, moving carefully but confidently. You really do know your way around a kitchen, Evelyn said. Naomi made sure of it, he said. Ethan, read, if something happens to me, you're not feeding our son fast food every night. So, she taught me pancakes, spaghetti, meatloaf, chicken soup, the basics, Ethan said. She was preparing me. Yes. His voice got rough. She knew. The last few weeks, she made me write everything down. How she liked Oliver's haircut, his favorite bedtime stories, what to do when he had nightmares. She was preparing me. Ethan stopped focusing on the batter. Evelyn put her hand on his arm. She sounds like a remarkable woman. She was, he said. While Ethan made pancakes on the gas stove, Evelyn looked around her kitchen. The broken window latch, the loose cabinet door, the flickering light, things she had been meaning to fix for years. Your house needs some work, Ethan said, following her gaze. I know. It's hard to manage everything on my own. I could fix some of this stuff, he offered. If you have tools, I'm good with my hands. That's what I did before I lost my job. I was a welder and a handyman. Fixed everything from motorcycles to roof leaks. Ethan, you don't need to. Please. Let me do something. You saved my son's life. Let me help, he said. Evelyn wanted to refuse, but looking at him, she realized it wasn't about owing. It was about dignity. About a man who had lost so much wanting to feel useful again. Okay, she said. After breakfast, Oliver ate 4 pancakes. Ethan ate 6. Evelyn was surprised she ate so much too. Afterward, Ethan found Harold's old toolbox in the garage. Evelyn had forgotten it was even there. Within an hour, he had fixed the window latch, tightened a loose cabinet door, and was checking the light fixture. Oliver followed him around like a little shadow, handing him tools and asking questions. Why are you fixing Miss Evelyn's house, Daddy? Because she helped us, buddy. When someone does something good for you, you do something good back. That's how we keep the world from being completely terrible. Oh, can I help? Oliver asked. Sure. You can hold the flashlight right there. Perfect, Oliver said. Evelyn sat in her rocking chair, watching them. A big tattooed man with his jacket on a chair, a small boy moving like he belonged there. It felt strange but right. Miss Evelyn, Oliver called. Daddy says the Hell's Angels do good things. Is that true? What kind of good things? Evelyn asked. Ethan, on the stepladder, said, Our chapter runs a toy drive every Christmas. We get bikes, dolls, and games for kids who don't have much. Last year, we helped 200 kids. We also do charity rides for veterans. And every month, we volunteer at the soup kitchen downtown. Really? Evelyn said, surprised. Really? Most chapters are like that. We're not criminals. We just love motorcycles and want to help people. But the jacket scares people. They see the skull and think the worst. You almost didn't help either. But you did. That's the difference. They worked all morning. Ethan fixed the loose floorboard, replaced a broken shelf, and patched a hole that had been there since Lucas's last visit. Around noon, the power came back. The furnace started. Warm air filled the house. Thank God, Evelyn breathed. I was starting to worry we'd freeze. We should probably get going, Ethan said reluctantly. Daddy, no. Oliver ran to Evelyn and hugged her legs. "You can stay until you're rested and have eaten a proper meal," Evelyn said, surprising herself. Ethan looked like he might cry again. "Thank you. God, thank you." They stayed through lunch. Evelyn made more soup. Ethan told stories about Naomi, how they met at a library book sale, how she laughed at his tough appearance, and how he asked her out first. Oliver showed Evelyn his small Teddy Cuddles. "Mommy gave me this. As long as I have Sir Cuddles, she's with me." Evelyn held the warm stuffed animal carefully. "Your mommy was very smart." By mid-afternoon, the snow plows reached their street. Ethan knew it was time. He knelt to Oliver's level. "Say goodbye to Miss Evelyn, buddy." "Goodbye, Miss Evelyn," Oliver said. He hugged her tightly. "Thank you for saving me," he whispered. "You're welcome, sweetheart," Evelyn said, tears in her eyes. Ethan pressed something into her hand. A patch from his jacket. "If you ever need anything, show this to any Hell's Angel and tell them I sent you. They'll help. I promise." Evelyn looked at the patch, the only thing he could give her. "Okay," she whispered. "And this," he added, a crumpled piece of paper. "My friend Aaron's phone number. I'll call you when we're settled, let you know we're okay." Oliver tugged her sleeve. "Miss Evelyn, can I give you something too?" "Of course, baby." Oliver held out Sir Cuddles. "Mommy said if I give this to someone, it means they're family." "Oh, sweetheart, no. This is yours. But I want you to have it. You're my family now too." Evelyn promised to keep him safe. They left, walking through the snow to the motorcycle. Oliver waved 3 times before they disappeared. Evelyn waved back, watching until they were gone. Inside, she sat in Harold's chair, holding Sir Cuddles and looking at the patch. For the first time in 8 years, her house didn't feel empty. Ethan and Oliver left on a cold Tuesday morning. The motorcycle rumbled and then faded. Evelyn stood on her porch holding Sir Cuddles. The morning felt lighter, like something inside her chest had opened after years of being shut. But that feeling lasted only 3 days. Part 5. Rumors and Betrayal. 3 days later, Evelyn was at Miller's grocery, standing in the canned goods aisle, when she heard whispers. "I saw him with my own eyes. 2 in the morning, going into her house. Evelyn's letting Hell's Angels in? Disgraceful at her age." Evelyn's hand froze on a can of soup. Evelyn turned slowly. Mrs. Gloria and Mrs. May were standing a little far away, whispering to each other. Evelyn could hear them, even though their voices were soft, because she had very sharp ears for these kinds of things. "Maybe he is paying her," Mrs. May said quietly. "You know, for a place to stay." "Or maybe she is paying him," Mrs. Gloria said with a mean tone. "Lonely widow, dangerous man. You figure it out." Evelyn felt her face get hot. She put down the can she was holding and walked toward them. Her cane tapped loudly on the floor with every step, like a drumbeat that said, "I am not afraid." Both women looked at her. Mrs. Gloria's eyes got big, like she had just seen a ghost. Mrs. May suddenly pretended to read a cereal box, as if she wasn't listening at all. "Good morning," Evelyn said, her voice cold and strong. "Oh, Evelyn," Mrs. Gloria said, clutching her purse. "We were just talking about me. Nothing about you." "We are just worried," Mrs. May said, not looking at Evelyn. "Someone strange came to your house at night. People are worried about you." "People should mind their own business," Evelyn said, tightening her hands around her cane. "That man and his little boy were freezing. I gave them a place to stay. That's all. Nothing more." "But his jacket," Mrs. Gloria started to say. "It's just clothes," Evelyn said. "His heart is what matters. He's a good dad who needed help." "Still," Mrs. Gloria said, her voice sharper now, "it looks wrong. Pastor Jonathan said we should watch you." Evelyn felt like someone had slapped her hard across the face. "Pastor Jonathan said what?" she asked, her voice trembling. "That at your age, you might be tricked by bad people," Mrs. Gloria said. "Tricked?" Evelyn's voice shook with anger. That man fixed my window, my cabinet, my light fixture. He asked for nothing. His 4-year-old son gave me his teddy cuddles, the last gift from his dead mom, because he thought I was family. But you see a jacket and think I'm a fool." Evelyn turned and walked away, leaving her shopping cart in the middle of the aisle. She heard Mrs. May whisper, "Well, she's really defensive." Evelyn got to her car before she started to cry. Her hands shook a little, but she held the wheel tightly. She thought about the little boy, Oliver, and his dad, Ethan. They were freezing, alone, scared, and she had been the only one to help. She had done the right thing. That night, the phone rang. Evelyn's hands shook as she picked it up. "Mrs. Brooks, this is Pastor Jonathan," a calm voice said. "Pastor, I just helped a dying child." "That's all," Evelyn shouted. "Some people are worried because a hell's angel came to your house at 2 o'clock in the morning," Pastor Jonathan said gently. Evelyn's voice rose even higher. "What about loving your neighbor? What about helping people in need?" "Of course we should help, but you must be careful," the pastor said. "I was careful. That dad was trying to save his son," Evelyn yelled. "Maybe, but at your age, these men can be tricky," Pastor Jonathan said. Evelyn hung up. She sat in her kitchen, holding the little patch the boy Ethan had given her. She looked at Sir Cuddles, the small Teddy Cuddles, on her counter. She thought about the 2 people she had helped, and tears came to her eyes. She didn't know she would need saving too. The doorbell rang. Evelyn looked through the peephole. 3 teenage boys were running away, laughing. They had painted Hell's Lover in red spray paint on her welcome mat. Evelyn felt her chest tighten. She stood there for a long moment, staring at the words. Then she grabbed a bucket and started scrubbing. Her hands cramped, her hips ached, and the cold night air bit through her thin sweater, but she scrubbed. Across the street, she saw Mrs. Gloria watching. She didn't lift a finger to help. Evelyn kept scrubbing until the paint was almost gone. Her hands were raw, her fingers shaking, but she didn't stop. She went inside, locked all 5 deadbolts, and cried for the first time since Harold had died. Far away, in a small apartment that smelled like stale beer and cigarettes, Lucas Brooks sat at a card table with his girlfriend, Tessa. His phone buzzed. It was a text from his old friend Victor. "Your mom's got a hell's angel living with her. The whole town's talking. Is she rich now or something?" Lucas stared at the message. "What?" he whispered. Tessa leaned over, eyes wide. "Your mom has money now. If a hell's angel is hanging around her, she must be rich. That house should be yours." Lucas thought about the house, his dad's workshop, and the last time he saw his mom. His stomach twisted painfully. He needed something. Money, control, something. "We should check on her tomorrow," Tessa said. "Make sure she's okay. Make sure no one is tricking her." "I don't know," Lucas said. Tessa's voice got serious. "It's been 5 years. Don't you want to see her? If she has money, money that should be yours, we should take it." Lucas's hands shook again. "Okay, we'll go tomorrow," he said, feeling powerless. The next day, Evelyn found a letter in her mailbox. It had no stamp. It said, "You are a disgrace. Hanging out with criminals. You should be ashamed." Evelyn folded the letter and put it in a drawer with 3 other letters just like it. She made coffee and sat at the kitchen table, looking at Sir Cuddles. "I did the right thing," she told the empty room. Outside, she saw little Amy Chan from next door getting on the school bus. Amy always waved at Evelyn every morning. Today she waved, but her mother grabbed her hand and pulled her away. Mrs. May glared at Evelyn through the window. Evelyn let the curtain fall and thought about Ethan and Oliver. She wondered where they were, if they had found shelter, if Oliver was warm. She hoped they were okay. She hoped they had forgotten her, this small act of kindness that had made her a pariah in her own neighborhood. That night, Evelyn held the Hell's Angels patch Ethan had given her. If they ever needed her again, she would help them. But she realized that maybe she needed help too. The next day, Lucas and Tessa got into Lucas's old beat-up car for the long drive. Lucas's hands shook. He hadn't used drugs for 6 hours, and the feeling of withdrawal made him tense. Tessa didn't know he had been using drugs for 5 years. "What are you going to say to her?" Tessa asked. "I don't know. Maybe, 'Hi, Mom. Sorry I left,'" Lucas said. "Make her feel guilty. Say you needed her and she wasn't there," Tessa said. Lucas thought. "If she doesn't have money? Then we take what she has," Tessa said. "It's your inheritance. Your house. Your right." Lucas didn't answer. He just drove. 4 hours later, they arrived at Maple Street. Lucas saw his childhood home. It looked smaller than he remembered, older, but still the same house where he had grown up. He felt sick to his stomach. "Let's do this," Tessa said, opening her car door. Lucas used his old key to unlock the door at midnight. The sound of the lock turning felt like a gunshot in the quiet house. Evelyn woke up. Her heart was racing. Someone was in her house. She reached for her phone, but her arthritic fingers fumbled, and it fell to the floor. "Mom!" Lucas's voice slurred from the hallway, angry and loud. Evelyn froze. After 5 years, her son was back. She slowly sat up. "Lucas, what are you doing here?" she asked. "You left me. You never wanted to see me again. Now, where's the money?" Evelyn's stomach sank. "What money?" If you're enjoying this story, make sure to subscribe and share your favorite part in the comments below. And don't forget to drop a heart to show your support. "You liar!" Lucas shouted. A woman with blonde hair and cold eyes shone a flashlight around the room. "There is no money," Evelyn shouted. "A man and his son needed help. That's all." "You're lying," Lucas said. He pushed past her and ran to the closet. "Lucas, please. You're not well," Evelyn said. "You never helped me. You left me." Lucas's eyes were wild and desperate. "You left," Evelyn whispered. "I was there. I called an ambulance when you overdosed on the floor. You only cared about everyone else." Lucas shouted. "Lucas, I loved you both," Evelyn cried. "Liar." Lucas's voice was cold. He went to the back bedroom. Harold's old office. The safe. Lucas yanked books off the shelf. Tessa came in with her flashlight. "Open it," she said. "I don't have the combination," Evelyn cried. Lucas spun around. "There has to be money. Even if there was, there's nothing in there. Just papers. Your dad's death certificate and our marriage license. That's all." Lucas's hands shook, his eyes wild with anger. He didn't understand. He thought his mother had money. He thought she was keeping it from him. He thought he had a right to take it. But there was nothing. Evelyn felt tears streaming down her face. She had helped people, cared for them, and done the right thing. And now, her own son thought she had done wrong. She felt tired, scared, and very sad. Tessa's flashlight swung around the room. "She's hiding it," she said. "No, there's nothing," Evelyn shouted. Lucas's anger started to fade just a little. He saw the fear in his mother's eyes, and a small part of him remembered the little boy he had been, the scared child who had wanted love from his mom. But the other part of him, the part that had been hurt and angry for years, still burned. Evelyn held her cane tightly. "I am telling the truth. There is nothing to find." Lucas stopped. He looked around the room. The safe was open. Papers were scattered everywhere. Tessa's flashlight had knocked over a lamp. Lucas's anger met Evelyn's fear. The room was quiet except for the sound of their breathing. Evelyn felt something inside her. She had done the right thing. She had helped a child and his dad. She had acted out of love. And now she had to face her own son, angry and lost. But she would not be afraid. Even though Lucas and Tessa had come into her home, even though they had scared her, Evelyn knew she had done the right thing. She had helped people, even when no one understood. She had been brave. She had been kind. And that mattered. Evelyn took a deep breath, her hands still shaking from fear and cold and old age. She looked at Lucas. "I love you," she said softly. "I always have. I always will." Lucas looked at her, confusion and anger and sadness all in his eyes. He didn't know what to say. The little boy wanted to forgive her. The young man he had become wanted money. And now, in the quiet house, both were there, fighting inside him. Evelyn took another deep breath. "There is nothing here for you to take. Only love. And you are my son. That is all." For the first time that night, Lucas stopped. He didn't move. He didn't shout. He just looked at his mother. He saw her hands, old and worn. He saw her eyes, tired but strong. He saw her heart, bigger than he had ever realized. Tessa looked at him, frustrated. Lucas shook his head slightly. The anger was still there, but a small part of him remembered the little boy who had loved his mother. Evelyn stayed calm, holding her cane. She knew it would take time. Lucas had been away a long time. He had made mistakes. But she loved him anyway. And in that quiet, broken house, with the papers scattered and the safe open, Evelyn knew that love was stronger than anger. Stronger than fear. Stronger than everything else. And she would not stop loving. Lucas hit the wall next to the safe. His knuckles were bleeding, and little drops of red fell on the floor. "I need that money, Mom. I really need it," he said, his voice loud and desperate. Evelyn saw that his hands were shaking. Even though the house was cold, sweat was on his forehead. She recognized the signs. She had seen them 5 years ago. She knew the look, the trembling, the fear hidden behind anger. "You're using drugs again," she whispered softly, almost like a scared little mouse. "Don't." Lucas's face crumpled. "Don't start," he said, his voice breaking. Evelyn could see the pain in his eyes. "How long?" she asked quietly, her heart hurting. "It doesn't matter," he said. "How long, Lucas?" "I never stopped," he shouted. "I never stopped." "Okay. I never stopped using it. I tried. I really tried. But she died. And I couldn't. I couldn't." Evelyn's heart broke. She took a small step forward. "Who died?" she asked softly. "Tessa's sister, my girlfriend," he said, his voice shaking. "Before this, Tessa." Lucas slid down the wall and sat on the floor, folding his legs under him like a broken puppet. "She overdosed," he said. "I found her, and I couldn't save her. I started using it again, and I couldn't stop. I tried so hard, but I couldn't." Evelyn felt her heart ache. She reached out her hand, but she didn't move. "Oh, Lucas, don't," she whispered, her voice small and quiet. He looked at her with tears in his eyes. "Don't feel sorry for me. I'm not that kid anymore. That kid is dead. That boy you knew, he's gone." "No, he's not," Evelyn said. "He is," Lucas said firmly. Lucas pushed himself up, and his hands shook as he stood. "And I need money. Where is it?" "There isn't any," Evelyn said quietly, her voice almost shaking. Tessa, standing beside him, grabbed a framed photo from the mantel. It was Evelyn and Harold's wedding picture, their happy faces smiling at the camera. "Maybe this is worth something," she said with a smirk. "Don't," Evelyn said and started forward, trying to protect the photo. Tessa smiled and dropped it on the floor. The glass shattered everywhere. Evelyn gasped, half in fear, half in anger. "Get out of my house!" she shouted, her voice shaking with rage. "Not until we get what we came for," Tessa said calmly, moving toward the bookshelf. She swept her arm across it, knocking down every book in her path. Pages flew, books thumped onto the floor. Tessa picked up a small wooden box where Evelyn kept Harold and her wedding rings. "Put that down," Evelyn yelled. "Make me, old woman," Tessa said, her voice cruel. Lucas froze for a moment, watching. Part of him, the little boy he used to be, seemed to fight with the man he had become. But the drugs were stronger. They made him feel small and weak, and that part of him lost. "Check it," he told Tessa. Tessa opened the box and found the rings and a small locket with a picture of baby Lucas. She dumped everything onto the floor and stomped on the locket. The picture inside cracked under her heel. Evelyn made a sound, half a sob, half a gasp. She bent down, trying to pick up the crushed locket. Her hip hurt from bending over. That's when she saw something under the couch. Sir Cuddles, Oliver's Teddy Cuddles. The toy Ethan's son loved most. Tessa saw it too. She picked it up. "What's this?" The biker's kid left his toy. "Put it down," Evelyn said. Her voice was soft now, but firm. "That doesn't belong to you." Tessa held the Cuddles up, examining it. "Looks old, probably worthless," she said. She laughed, then threw it on the floor and stomped on it. Evelyn moved without thinking. She swung her cane. Tessa dodged, laughing. "Oh, Grandma's got some fight in her," she said. "Get out," Evelyn yelled, advancing. Her cane was raised. "Get out of my house right now, or I will call the police." "With what phone?" Tessa said, holding up Evelyn's cell phone. Evelyn had left it charging in the bedroom. Derek looked at the broken locket on the floor, at the cracked picture of himself as a baby. "Mom," he said quietly. "I'm sorry." "Then stop this, please. Let me help you." "I can't," Evelyn said. "I can't be helped. Don't you get it?" "I'm too far gone," he said, his voice hard and empty. "You're not," Evelyn said. "I am," he said. Lucas stood up quickly. "I need money." "So where is it?" "There is no money," Evelyn said. Lucas's face went hard. He walked to the kitchen and grabbed a hammer from the junk drawer. "Then I guess we'll have to look harder," he said. For the next hour, Derek and Tessa tore through Evelyn's house like a storm. They smashed the wall safe open, but it only had papers. They emptied drawers, cabinets, and boxes. Everything was thrown onto the floor. Finally, they found $300 Evelyn had saved from her Social Security check for rent. Tessa grabbed it. "That's my rent," Evelyn said, shocked and frightened. "Not anymore," Tessa said, putting the money in her purse. Lucas stood in the middle of the room, breathing hard. Pictures lay broken on the floor. The furniture was overturned. Books were scattered everywhere. In the corner, trampled and dirty, lay Sir Cuddles. Evelyn picked up the Cuddles, holding it tightly to her chest. "I promised a little boy I'd keep this safe," she whispered. "I promised." Derek looked at her. Really looked at her tears, at the destruction he had caused, at what he had become. "Mom, get out," he said. Evelyn's voice was quiet and broken. "Please, just leave." "Yes, you did," Evelyn said. "You meant every bit of it. You hate me. You blame me for your father's death, for your addiction, for everything wrong in your life. And you know what? I'm done. I'm done hoping you'll come back. I'm done waiting for the son I lost." Lucas's eyes filled with tears. "The Lucas I raised would never do this," Evelyn said. "That boy is gone, and I have to accept it." Something inside Lucas broke completely. He turned and walked to the door. Tessa followed, putting the money in her purse. "Pleasure meeting you," she said. They left. The door closed behind them. Evelyn stood in the ruined living room, holding a dirty Teddy Cuddles, and finally let herself collapse. She sat on the floor among the broken glass, shattered pictures, scattered books, and overturned furniture. She cried for everything she had lost, her husband, her son, and her hope that love was enough to save someone. Outside, Lucas sat in his car. His hands shook on the steering wheel. "That went well," Tessa said, counting the money. Lucas said nothing. He just stared at the house where his mother was sitting alone in the dark. Then he started the car and drove away. He didn't look back. 2 weeks later, when he was in the worst of withdrawal, when Tessa had taken the money and left him, lying on a dirty floor in a friend's apartment, thinking about ending it all, he would remember his mother's face. And that would be the moment he finally made a call for help. But that night, driving away through the dark streets of Oak Ridge, Derek thought only one thing. That boy is dead. And he believed it. Dawn came cold and gray. Evelyn hadn't moved from the floor. She sat among the shattered picture frames, scattered books, and overturned furniture, still holding Sir Cuddles tightly against her chest. Her body ached everywhere. Her hip throbbed from sitting on the hard floor for hours. Her hands were stiff and swollen from gripping the teddy Cuddles so tightly. The physical pain was nothing compared to the emptiness inside her chest. She looked around at the destruction, at 30 years of memories torn apart in one night. Wedding photo glass was everywhere, cutting the smiling face of Harold in half. The locket with baby Lucas's picture lay crushed beyond repair. Harold's books had pages torn and scattered across the floor. Everything was broken. Everything was ruined. Just like her family. Slowly, Evelyn pushed herself up. Her hips screamed in protest. She used the overturned coffee table for support and breathed through the pain until she could stand. The house looked like a crime scene. She could call the police. She could file a report. She could press charges. But Lucas was her son. Even now, even after everything, he was still her son. Evelyn picked up her cell phone from where Tessa had dropped it. The screen was cracked, but it still worked. She stared at the numbers. 911. 3 little numbers that would put Lucas in jail. Her thumb hovered over the screen. She couldn't do it. "I'm a fool," she whispered to the empty room. A stupid, foolish old woman. She put the phone down. Instead, she got the broom from the closet and started sweeping up the glass, one piece at a time. Slow and methodical. Her back protested, her hands cramped. She didn't stop. She swept up the broken locket, the crushed picture of baby Lucas, holding them in her palm for a long moment. She looked at that sweet little face behind the cracked glass. "I lost you," she whispered to the picture. "I don't know when. I don't know how, but I lost you." She put the pieces in the trash. It felt like burying him all over again. By mid-morning, she had filled 3 garbage bags with broken things, but the house still looked destroyed. The furniture was overturned. The safe hung open like a wound. Evelyn sat down in Harold's chair, one of the few things Lucas hadn't destroyed. She was so tired, so bone-deep exhausted, she could barely think. But she forced herself to think about Lucas and what he had said. Had she loved Lucas more than Harold? Had she been so consumed by grief for Harold that she failed her son? Or had Derek made his own choices? Had he chosen drugs over family? Had he used her grief as an excuse for his destruction? Evelyn didn't know anymore. All she knew was this: she couldn't do it anymore. She couldn't keep the door unlocked, waiting for him to come home. She couldn't keep hoping every phone call would be him, sober and sorry. She couldn't keep sacrificing her peace, her safety, her life, waiting for a son who might never come back. "I have to let you go," Evelyn said to the empty room. "Not because I don't love you, but because loving you is killing me." The words hung in the air. Final. Terrifying. True. For the first time in 5 years, Evelyn felt something shift inside her chest. Not relief exactly, but a kind of acceptance, a kind of peace, bitter as it was. Lucas had made his choice. Now she had to make hers. She stood up slowly, her body protesting every movement. She walked to her bedroom and found what she was looking for. The letter Harold had written to her before he died. She discovered it a year after the accident, tucked in his toolbox with a note, in case something happened. She unfolded the worn paper and read the words she had memorized long ago. "My dearest Evelyn, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And I know you. I know you're probably drowning in grief, probably blaming yourself for things you couldn't control. Don't. Life is short and precious and terrifying. We don't get to choose when it ends. But we do get to choose how we live the days we have left. Don't let grief turn you into someone I wouldn't recognize. Don't let pain make you small and scared. Don't let sadness steal the rest of your life. Live, Evelyn, for both of us. Live big and brave and full. I love you always. Harold." Evelyn read the letter 3 times. Then she folded it carefully and put it back in the drawer. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay, Harold. I'll try." She spent the rest of the day cleaning. Not everything. She couldn't fix everything in one day, but she picked up what she could. She taped the torn photograph back together, even though the crack across Harold's face would always be visible. She salvaged what books she could. She picked up Sir Cuddles, brushed off the dirt, and set him carefully on the mantel next to Harold's picture. "I'm sorry, Oliver," she told the stuffed animal. "I tried to keep you safe." At 3 o'clock, there was a knock on the door. Evelyn froze. Her first instinct was fear. Lucas is coming back. But when she looked through the peephole, she saw Mrs. Gloria standing on the porch, holding something. Evelyn almost didn't open the door. After the gossip, after the judgment, after watching her scrub spray paint off her porch without offering help, why should she? But she was tired of fear, tired of anger, tired of letting other people's cruelty make her cruel, too. She opened the door. Mrs. Gloria looked shocked. "Evelyn, I came to..." She held out a basket covered with a cloth. "I made too many muffins. I thought you might want some." Evelyn looked at the basket and then at Mrs. Gloria's face. Shame was written clearly on it. "You don't make too many muffins," Evelyn said quietly. "You're apologizing without saying the words." Mrs. Gloria's face crumpled. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I saw your house last night. I saw your son and that woman leaving. I saw what they did, and I realized I've been so cruel to you. You helped someone who needed help, and I judged you for it. I'm ashamed." Evelyn took the basket. "Thank you," she said softly. "That was all. Just thank you." "What do you want me to say, Evelyn? Is that okay? That the gossip, the mean words, the spray paint, and the judgment didn't hurt?" Evelyn's voice was very tired. It hurt. It hurt a lot, but she was too tired to be angry anymore. "So, yes. Thank you for the muffins. And thank you for saying sorry," Evelyn said quietly. Mrs. Gloria nodded. There were tears in her eyes. "If you need anything, I'll ask," she said gently. Evelyn started to close the door, then stopped. "Evelyn, the man I helped. His name is Ethan. He's a widower. That means his wife died. He has a 4-year-old son. He's one of the kindest men I've ever met. And he wears a jacket that says, Hell's Angels. Both of those things are true." She closed the door gently. Inside, Evelyn put the muffin basket on the counter. She wasn't hungry, but it was something nice. It was like a tiny crack in the wall of loneliness that the town had built around her. That night, Evelyn sat in Harold's chair with Sir Cuddles in her lap. She made herself a promise. "I'm not going to wait for Lucas anymore," she said out loud. "I'm not going to keep living like a ghost in my own life. I'm going to live. Really live. Even if it's scary. Even if it hurts. I'm going to choose me." It was the hardest decision she had ever made. Harder than burying Harold. Harder than watching Lucas leave 5 years ago. Because this time, she was choosing to close a door she had kept open only because she hoped. She was choosing to let go of a son who might someday want to come home. But she couldn't keep hurting herself for that, maybe. Evelyn looked at Harold's picture and Sir Cuddles on the kitchen counter. "I did the right thing," she said firmly. Helping Ethan and Oliver was right. And now, choosing to live her own life was right too. She went to bed that night with all 5 locks closed. For the first time in weeks, she slept well because she had finally stopped waiting for someone else to save her. She decided to save herself. The next morning, Evelyn was in the backyard trying to plant tulip bulbs she had bought before winter. Her hands shook as she dug into the hard, half-frozen ground. It was difficult because of her arthritis, but she needed to do something. She needed to feel like she was building instead of just surviving. She had spent the last 4 days putting her house back together, little by little. The furniture was upright again. The books were back on the shelves. But the holes in the walls stayed. The broken safe hung open. Some things she couldn't fix alone. That's when she heard it. A low rumble in the distance, getting closer. Evelyn's heart jumped. She knew that sound. Motorcycles. She stood slowly, dirt on her knees, and listened. The rumble grew louder and louder. Not just one bike, many bikes. She walked to the front of the house, her heart racing. Down the street came a long line of motorcycles. Black leather, shiny chrome, and Hell's Angels patches Evelyn could see from far away. But it wasn't just 10 or 20 bikes. There were more than she could count. 50, 70, maybe even more. The street filled with loud engine sounds that made her chest vibrate. Evelyn's legs went weak. She held the porch railing for support. What was happening? The lead motorcycle stopped in front of her house. The rider turned off the engine and took off his helmet. It was Ethan. Evelyn's throat closed up. He was here. He had come back. Behind him, a small figure climbed off a bike. Oliver. He wore a tiny helmet and smiled big when he saw her. "Miss Evelyn," he shouted, running with his arms wide open. Evelyn barely had time to brace herself before Oliver jumped into her arms. She stumbled but held him tight. "Hi, sweetheart," she said. "What are you doing here?" Ethan walked up, looking serious and worried. "We heard what happened. Aaron got a call from his cousin, who lives 2 streets over. Said your house got broken into. Said your son." He stopped, seeing her face. "I'm sorry. We came as soon as we heard." "You came," Evelyn whispered. She looked past him at all the motorcycles. At least 150 bikes now filled the street. "You saved my son's life," Ethan said. "When I heard someone hurt you, I called every Hell's Angel I could find." An older man came forward. He had a silver cudgels and looked strong, like a soldier. He took off his helmet and held out his hand. "Mrs. Brooks, I'm Victor Steele, retired Sergeant Major, President of the Oakage chapter." Evelyn shook his hand, still amazed. "Ethan told us what you did," Victor said. "How you opened your door when 6 other houses turned him away. How you saved young Oliver when he was hurt. Ma'am, that makes you family. And when the family is in trouble, we show up." Tears ran down Evelyn's cheeks. "I don't understand," she whispered. "You don't have to," Victor said, looking at her damaged house. "We're here to help. We have carpenters, electricians, painters. Whatever needs fixing, we'll fix it." Oliver tugged on Evelyn's hand. "Miss Evelyn, are you okay? Daddy said someone hurt you." Evelyn knelt down to him. "I'm okay now, baby. Now that you're here, I miss you." Oliver hugged her tight. "I told Daddy we had to come see you. I said you're my grandma now." Evelyn held him, breathing in the smell of his hair and feeling his little arms around her. Over his shoulder, she looked at Ethan. "I'm sorry," Ethan said softly. "I should have come sooner. Should have checked on you. I was just trying to find work and get back on my feet. I didn't think you wouldn't know. Small town. Word travels," Evelyn said. "You didn't call the cops?" Ethan asked. "I couldn't. It was my son. I couldn't put him in jail." Ethan understood, then looked sad. "The son you told me about, Lucas. He needed money for drugs. He took everything you had." Evelyn's voice broke. $300, my rent money. And he was destroyed." She couldn't finish. Ethan saw Sir Cuddles sitting on the porch, dirty and broken. His jaw tightened. He had hurt Sir Cuddles. "I tried to keep him safe. I promised Oliver." Ethan put his hand on her shoulder. "You did keep him safe. You kept my son safe. That's what matters." Oliver ran to the porch and picked up his teddy Cuddles. "Sir Cuddles still loves you, Miss Evelyn. He's just a little dirty." "We can fix that," Ethan said. "We can fix everything." He turned and raised his hand. Instantly, all the engines stopped. Silence fell. "Listen up," Ethan shouted. "This is the woman who saved my son's life. Her name is Mrs. Evelyn Brooks. And from now on, she's under our protection. We're going to fix this house. We'll make it better than it was, and everyone in this town will know. If you mess with her, you mess with all of us." A cheer went up from the bikers. Evelyn watched as they organized themselves like a well-trained team. Toolboxes appeared, wood and paint, everything they needed. They swarmed over her house, ready to work. Victor came forward again. "Ma'am, we want to do some upgrades. New locks, a security system, maybe reinforce that back door." "I can't pay. It's already paid for," Evelyn said. "Consider it a gift from the club," Victor said. "Ethan told us about your son. We're sorry. If he ever wants help to stop using drugs, we know good programs." "No judgment." Evelyn nodded, too overwhelmed to speak. Ethan guided her to a chair in the front yard. Oliver climbed into her lap immediately. "You don't have to do this, Evelyn," she said. "Yes, we do," Ethan said. "You think you saved us that night, but you did more than that. You saw past the jacket, past the tattoos, past everything people judge us for. You saw a father trying to save his son. That is rare. I just did what anyone would." "No," Ethan said firmly. 6 houses before yours, 6 families saw me and decided I wasn't worth their time. You were the only one who opened the door." He reached into his jacket and pulled out a patch. The same Hell's Angels emblem he had given her before. "I gave you this as a promise," he said. "If you ever needed anything, any Hell's Angel would help. But I'm giving you something else too. This is an honorary member patch. Only 15 people in 50 years got one. You're the 16th. Evelyn stared. It was beautiful, handmade, and full of care. "You're not just someone we're helping," Victor said. "You're one of us now. The Hell's Angels take care of their own, and you, ma'am, are family." All the bikers stopped working and turned to face her. They removed their helmets and bowed their heads. A sign of respect, of honor. Evelyn couldn't stop crying. Big, shaking tears. Oliver held her tighter. "Don't cry, Miss Evelyn," he whispered. "We're here now. We're going to take care of you." Ethan put his hand over hers. "You're not alone anymore." Looking at the man who had become like a son and the little boy who had become like a grandson, Evelyn realized something. She had lost her family, her husband, her son. But somehow, in the darkness, she had found a new family. Not by blood, but by love, kindness, and opening her door when everyone else had kept theirs closed. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you all." Victor smiled. "Thank you for letting us work. This house is going to be the best on the street when we're done." They went back to work. The sounds of hammers, saws, and laughter filled the air. For the first time since Lucas left, Evelyn's house felt alive again. Across the street, neighbors peeked from their windows. Mrs. Gloria, Mrs. May, the Hendersons, and others watched. They saw the Hell's Angels fixing Evelyn's house. One woman thought, maybe the people who look scary are sometimes the ones with the biggest hearts. By noon, Evelyn Street looked like a busy construction site. Trucks arrived. Someone knew a hardware store owner. Someone else had a friend with lumber. Supplies appeared like magic. The Hell's Angels worked fast and smart. Evelyn learned that at least 40 of them were veterans. Victor Steele directed everything like a sergeant major. "Leo, you take the roof. Naomi, check the electrical panel. Aaron, I need you on the back door frame. It's broken." Naomi Vega, the only woman biker Evelyn had seen, came over with a toolbox. She was around 40, with kind eyes and arms full of tattoos. "Mrs. Brooks, I'll check your breaker box. Ethan said your lights were flickering before the power went out." "You're an electrician?" Evelyn asked. "Nurse," Naomi said. "But my dad was an electrician. Taught me everything." "Most people see my jacket and tattoos and think I'm trouble," Naomi said. "Last week, someone called security at the hospital because they thought I was stealing drugs. I was just going to work." Evelyn touched Naomi's arm. I'm sorry that happened. It happens all the time, Naomi said. That's why what you did opening your door for Ethan means everything. You didn't see the jacket. You saw the person. Naomi went to work on the electrical panel. Within an hour, she had fixed half the house's wiring and the flickering lights that had annoyed Evelyn for years. Ethan was everywhere, fixing window frames, patching holes, installing locks. Oliver followed him, handing tools and chattering. Miss Evelyn, Oliver said, come see what Daddy's doing. He pulled her into the living room. Ethan had just finished painting the walls a warm cream color that made the room feel bigger and brighter. I hope this color's okay, Ethan said. Perfect, Evelyn said. It hasn't looked this good since Harold painted it 20 years ago. We're not done yet, Ethan said. We're going to build new shelves, better than the old ones, and Leo's reinforcing the front door with new locks. This is too much, Evelyn said. It's not enough, Ethan said. When I think about your son coming in here, taking your money, destroying your things, you deserved better. You deserve people who protect you, not hurt you. He's sick, Evelyn said quietly. I know. But being sick doesn't give someone the right to hurt others. My wife was sick, cancer sick. She never hurt me or Oliver, never stole anything. Being in pain doesn't give you the right to cause pain. Evelyn nodded slowly. You're right. I think I've been making excuses for him too long. Because you love him, Ethan said. That's what parents do. But loving someone doesn't mean letting them hurt you. Around 2 o'clock, someone started a grill. The smell of hamburgers filled the air. More people came, not bikers, but neighbors, bringing potato salad, coleslaw, and drinks. The work continued late into the evening. Some bikers repaired the roof, others painted the walls. They cleaned the yard, removed debris, and built new shelves. Evelyn watched them with Oliver on her lap. Every now and then, Ethan checked on her and Oliver, smiling softly. This is amazing, Evelyn whispered. You did it, Ethan said. You opened your door. You saved my son. That's amazing. Oliver hugged her tight. I love our family, Miss Evelyn, he said. Evelyn smiled through her tears. Her house was not just repaired, it was alive. Mrs. Gloria came down the street carrying a huge tray of cookies. The cookies smelled sweet and warm, and some were chocolate chips, while others had sprinkles. Mrs. May walked behind her holding a basket of homemade spring rolls. The smell of the fresh, crunchy rolls made everyone's mouths water. The Hendersons carried a big, round watermelon. It was heavy, and they balanced it carefully as they walked. All of them were a little nervous. They weren't sure if Evelyn would want to see them after all the gossip that had been going around. People in Oakage had been saying unkind things about Evelyn and her family, and now some of those same people were coming to her house. But Victor, Evelyn's friend, saw them coming and waved his hand. Food for everyone. Grab a plate, he shouted happily. Mrs. Gloria walked up to Evelyn slowly. I hope it's okay that we came, she said softly. Evelyn looked at her and smiled gently. It's okay, she said. She really meant it. For a long time, she had been angry at everyone, tired of the gossip, and tired of trying to explain herself. But now, the anger was gone, and she felt only exhaustion. Mrs. Gloria looked around at the people helping at the house. We were wrong about you. About them, she said, pointing to the Hells Angels who were busy fixing the house. They've been here all day, Evelyn said, helping without asking for anything. That's who they are. By 3 o'clock, more and more people in Oakage had heard what was happening at Evelyn's house. Some people came because they were curious. Some people came because they wanted to say they were sorry. Even Pastor Jonathan showed up. He looked uncomfortable and nervous, like he wasn't sure if he was doing the right thing. Mrs. Brooks, I owe you an apology, Pastor Jonathan said. Yes, you do, Evelyn said simply, looking him in the eyes. Pastor Jonathan flinched, surprised by her honesty. I judged you, he said quietly. I listened to gossip instead of asking you directly what really happened. That's not what a pastor should do. I want to make it right. Maybe you could come speak at church next Sunday about kindness, about not judging people by how they look." Evelyn thought for a moment. "I will speak, but only if Ethan comes with me, and Victor, and anyone else who wants to come. If you want me to talk about not judging, the church needs to see who people are judging." Pastor Jonathan nodded quickly. "Of course. They're all welcome." At 4 o'clock, Victor called everyone together in the front yard. "Mrs. Brooks," he said, standing tall and serious, "your house is ready for inspection." Evelyn walked toward the house slowly. The Hells Angels had done an amazing job. They had painted the inside and outside with bright, clean colors. The windows were new, and the doors were strong with shiny new locks. Security cameras were set up at every corner. The roof had been patched and fixed, and even the electrical system was upgraded so everything would work safely. The porch had new boards, and the paint looked fresh. But it wasn't just the big fixes that mattered. The little things made Evelyn cry. Someone had planted tulips in her garden, just like she had been trying to do herself. Someone had hung new curtains in the windows. Someone had built a beautiful wooden shelf and carefully arranged all her books by color. And in the middle of the fireplace mantel, there was Sir Cuddles, cleaned and fixed so he looked almost new. "Oliver wanted to fix him for you," Ethan said softly, standing beside her. Naomi had sewn up the tears, washed him, and made him look as good as possible. "He's not perfect," she said, "but he's perfect." Evelyn hugged the Cuddles tightly. "I love him," she whispered. Oliver came closer and asked shyly, "Do you like him, Miss Evelyn?" "I love him," she said again, smiling at him. "Thank you, sweetheart." Then Victor stepped forward holding a wooden plaque. "We made this for you," he said. The plaque had shiny letters that read, "Evelyn Brooks, Mother of Angels." Underneath it in smaller letters, it said, "For kindness, courage, and seeing the person behind the jacket." "We'd like to hang it by your front door," Victor said, "so everyone who comes to your house knows the kind of person who lives here." Evelyn could only nod. She didn't have words for how she felt. They hung the plaque carefully. Every Hells Angel there signed their name on the back, making it even more special. Then Victor pulled out a big envelope. "One more thing," he said. "We took up a collection. Every chapter within 300 miles contributed." Evelyn shook her head. "I can't accept money," she said quietly. Victor smiled. "It's not just a gift. It's a fund. $7,500. We're setting up the Evelyn Brooks Family Emergency Fund. You'll be able to help single parents who need support, families facing eviction, kids who need winter coats. You'll manage it. We'll keep contributing every year." Evelyn opened the envelope with shaking hands. Inside was a check and a letter explaining the fund. "You saved one family," Victor said. "Now you can save many." Everyone around clapped their hands. The neighbors, the Hells Angels, even Pastor Jonathan joined in. Evelyn looked at Ethan and Oliver, and at Naomi wiping her tears, and at Victor standing proudly. She realized that family isn't always about who you are related to by blood. Family can be the people who show up, who do the work, and who choose love, even when it's hard. "Thank you," Evelyn said softly. "No, ma'am," Victor said. "Thank you. You reminded us why we help people. Why the club exists. To be family when family fails. To show the world that leather jackets and tattoos don't define a person's heart." As the sun went down, they had a little celebration. Music played from someone's speaker. People ate, talked, and laughed. Oliver ran around with the neighborhood kids, who were finally allowed to come over and play. Ethan sat beside Evelyn on her new porch steps. "You changed my life," he said quietly. Evelyn looked at him. "You know that, right?" "You changed mine too," she said. "I was ready to give up that night. I thought Oliver would die. I thought I had failed as a mother. Then you opened that door. You gave me hope. You showed me there are still good people in the world." Evelyn put her hand on Ethan's. "I was dying inside this house, waiting for a son who was never coming home. You reminded me that family can be found anywhere, and that it's never too late to live." Ethan asked. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything," Evelyn said. "When Lucas comes back, if he gets clean and wants to make amends, will you let him?" Evelyn thought for a moment. "I don't know. Part of me will always hope. But I can't live waiting for that hope anymore. If he comes back truly sober, honest, and willing to do the work, then yes, I'll listen. But I won't let him hurt me while I wait." Night fell, and the party slowly ended. One by one, the Hells Angels packed up their tools, said their goodbyes, and rode off into the dark night. But they promised they would come back for Sunday dinners, for holidays, and any time Evelyn needed help. Ethan and Oliver were the last to leave. "We'll see you Sunday at church," Ethan said. Oliver hugged Evelyn tightly. "I love you, Grandma," he said. "Grandma," Evelyn said, feeling her heart swell. "I love you too, baby." Evelyn stood on her porch, looking at her newly transformed house, at the shiny locks, the security cameras, and the plaque by the door. She remembered the street that, just a few hours ago, had been filled with 150 motorcycles. She realized that love sometimes comes in unexpected forms. She went inside, locked the new locks, and sat in Harold's chair. "Did you see that?" she asked for his picture. "Did you see what they did?" For the first time in 8 years, Evelyn felt peace in her heart. 3 days after the Hells Angels had fixed the house, Derek came back. It was late afternoon. Evelyn was in the kitchen, making soup, when she heard footsteps on the porch. Her body tensed. She grabbed her phone, ready to call Ethan. Then came a knock. Weak, almost apologetic. "Mom," Lucas said. "Please. I just need you." Evelyn walked slowly to the door. She peered through the peephole Ethan had installed. She could see him swaying slightly, looking thinner, paler, and shaking. "No, Tessa," he said. "Please, Mom. I need help." Evelyn's hand hovered over the new lock. Every instinct told her to walk away. But he was still her son. She opened the door. Lucas's hands shook. "Nice upgrades," he said bitterly. "The Hells Angels helped, huh?" "What do you want, Lucas?" Evelyn asked firmly. "I need money. Just $50. I swear I'll pay it back." "No," Evelyn said firmly. "You need rehab, not money. You didn't want it to work before. There is no easy way out. You've been making bad choices for years, and I can't save you anymore." Lucas's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry, Mom. I've tried so many times." Evelyn sat carefully beside him. "I can't save you. Only you can save yourself. I'm giving you a chance. Here," she said, pulling out a card. "This is the Crossroads Recovery Center. A 90-day program with real treatment, therapy, and job training." Lucas took the card with shaking hands. "This is the last time, Lucas. If you check out early or relapse, I'm done. I won't watch you hurt yourself anymore. Love isn't just about helping when it's easy. Real love means helping someone do better." Lucas cried hard. "I don't deserve this." "You're right. You don't. But love isn't about deserving. It's about choosing. And I choose to give you one more chance." A motorcycle rumbled up the street. Lucas looked up, startled. Ethan parked, and Oliver hopped off. "Miss Evelyn." Oliver ran toward her, then stopped when he saw Lucas. "Who's that?" Ethan walked up slowly. "This is my son, Lucas. The one your mom helped save." Lucas looked at Ethan and Oliver. "Your mom saved my son's life," he whispered. Ethan's voice was cold. "While your town slammed doors in our faces, she helped." Lucas nodded quietly. He understood finally what had happened. He looked at his mom, then at the people who had shown him kindness. Lucas turned to Evelyn. "Mom, I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry for everything. For the mean things I said. For breaking your house. For taking your things. For the last 5 years. For not being the son you deserved." His voice broke, and he started to cry. Evelyn looked at him gently. "I don't need you to be perfect," she said. "I just need you to be honest. I need you to try." Oliver, a little boy, stepped forward. He was curious and brave. He looked up at Lucas. "Are you Miss Evelyn's son? The one who is sick?" "Yeah, kid. I'm sick. My mommy was sick too. She died." Oliver said this very simply, like it was normal. But then he said something that made Lucas stop in his tracks. "Being sick doesn't mean you can be mean. Even when she hurt really bad, she was still nice to me." These simple words from a 4-year-old hit Lucas very hard. His face crumpled. "You're right. Your mom was right. I have no excuse," he whispered. Then Ethan stepped forward. He was tall and calm. He held out his hand. "Ethan, read," he said. Lucas looked at the hand. He hesitated for a moment, then took it. "Your mother is one of the strongest people I have ever met," Ethan said. "She deserves better than what you gave her." "I know," Lucas whispered. "So, do better or leave her alone." "No, he's right," Evelyn said gently. Lucas stood up slowly. He looked nervous. "I need to do better. I need to—" He looked at a card in his hand. "I need to go to this place. I need to get clean. Really clean this time." "I'll drive you," Evelyn said immediately. "No, I need to do this myself. If I can't even go to rehab by myself, how will I stay sober?" Lucas pulled out his phone. "I'll call them. I want to be admitted today if they will take me." He walked to the end of the driveway with the phone to his ear. Ethan sat down beside Evelyn. Oliver climbed into her lap. "Are you okay?" Ethan asked quietly. "I don't know. Ask me in 90 days, Evelyn said softly. "What if he doesn't make it?" Ethan asked. "Then I'll know I tried everything I could, and I'll let him go," Evelyn said firmly. "I'm done burning myself out to help him." Lucas came back, phone in hand. "They have a bed. They said I can come now. They'll do the intake tonight." "Okay." Evelyn stood slowly. Oliver slid off her lap. She walked to Lucas and held his face in her hands. "I love you. I've always loved you. But love isn't enough anymore. You have to do the work." "I know. I will. I promise," Lucas said. He hugged her tightly. For a moment, Evelyn felt her little boy in her arms again. The sweet child before drugs, before pain, before everything went wrong. Then he pulled away. "If I make it through this, if I get clean, can I come home?" Evelyn thought carefully. "If you get clean and stay clean, if you do the work, then yes, we'll talk. But this isn't about coming home. This is about saving your life." "I understand," Lucas said. Lucas walked to his car. He turned back once, lifted his hand in a small wave, and then drove away. Evelyn watched until his car disappeared. She felt a heavy mix of worry and hope. "Do you think he'll make it?" Ethan asked quietly. "I don't know, but I hope so." "God, I hope so," Evelyn said. Oliver tugged on her hand. "Miss Evelyn, why was your son so sad?" "He's been making bad choices for a long time, sweetheart. Now he's trying to make better ones." "Oh, like when I wouldn't share my toys and Daddy said I had to learn to be better?" "Exactly like that," Evelyn said, smiling. Oliver accepted this with a child's simple wisdom. "Can we have dinner now?" Daddy made spaghetti. They went inside, Evelyn, Ethan, and Oliver, a family not by blood, but by choice. Later that night, after Ethan and Oliver left, Evelyn sat in Harold's chair with Sir Cuddles in her lap. "I let him go," she said in Harold's picture. "Our son. I gave him one last chance, and then I let him go." She imagined Harold nodding, proud of her for choosing herself, for learning that love sometimes means stepping back, that you can't save someone who won't save themselves. 2 weeks later, Lucas called from Crossroads. "I'm still here, Mom. I'm staying. It's hard, But I'm staying. I'm proud of you, Evelyn said softly. Don't be proud yet. I'm just taking it one day at a time. That's all any of us can do. 3 months later, Lucas called again. I'm graduating from the program. 90 days sober. I did it, Evelyn cried. Can I come see you? Yes, but Lucas, I need you to understand something. I'm not the same person I was. I have a life now. Friends, people who depend on me. I won't let you disrupt that. I understand. I just want to show you I can be better. That I am better. When Lucas came to visit, he looked different. Healthy, clear-eyed, and 30 pounds heavier. He cried when he saw the house, the repairs, the plaque by the door. They did all this for you. They did all this with me because I opened my door when everyone else closed theirs. Lucas met Ethan and Oliver. He shook Ethan's hand. I judged you, Lucas said. Based on your jacket. I'm sorry. People judge, but your mom didn't. She saw past it. Maybe you can learn to do the same. Derek helped Evelyn in her garden. They talked, really talked, about Harold, about the past, about the future. I'm not moving back home, Lucas said. I'm getting my own place, a job, and staying in the program. Good. But can I visit sometimes? Evelyn asked. Yes, as long as you stay clean. I will. I promise, he said. Evelyn didn't fully trust the promise yet. But she saw something in Lucas's eyes that hadn't been there before. Determination. Hope. Maybe he'd make it. Maybe he wouldn't. But she had done all she could. And that finally was enough. 3 months passed, like a gentle sigh. Evelyn stood in her kitchen on a Sunday morning, watching Ethan make pancakes while Oliver set the table. This had become their routine. Sunday breakfast, then church, then the rest of the day spent however they pleased. Grandma Evelyn, I drew you something at school, Oliver said. He held up a picture of 4 people holding hands. That's you, me, Daddy, and Uncle Lucas. Evelyn looked at the drawing. Lucas stood slightly apart from the others, but he was there, still part of the picture. It's beautiful, sweetheart, Evelyn said, tears in her eyes. Lucas had been clean for 45 days now. He called every week, visited twice a month. He lived in a sober house, worked at a warehouse, and went to meetings every day. He looked healthy and sounded clear. Evelyn didn't let herself hope too much, but she didn't despair either. She had learned to exist in the space between not waiting, not expecting, just accepting whatever came. The doorbell rang. Mrs. Gloria, right on time. Morning, Evelyn. I brought muffins for the fund meeting, she said. The Evelyn Brooks Family Emergency Fund has helped 12 families so far. They met monthly to review applications. Mrs. Gloria volunteered as treasurer. Mrs. May managed outreach. Pastor Jonathan checked references. The town had changed, or maybe Evelyn's place in it had changed. People waved when she walked down the street. Kids called her Miss Evelyn. The Hells Angels stopped by regularly, fixing a neighbor's fence, helping someone move, teaching motorcycle safety to teenagers. The jacket didn't scare people anymore. It had become a symbol of something else. Showing up, helping, looking past appearances to see hearts. After breakfast, they went to church. Ethan, Oliver, and Evelyn sat together in the 3rd row. Victor and Naomi sat behind them. A few other Hells Angels were scattered throughout the congregation. Pastor Jonathan's sermon was about the Good Samaritan, seeing people others ignored, opening doors others kept closed. He looked directly at Evelyn. Sometimes the people we fear are the ones sent to save us, and sometimes saving others saves us too. After church, they returned home. Ethan grilled burgers. Oliver played in the yard. Neighbors stopped by. It felt like family, like belonging. That evening, after everyone left, Evelyn sat on her porch with a cup of tea. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. Her phone rang. Lucas's number. Hi, sweetheart, Evelyn answered. Hi, Mom. I just wanted to say I got the job. The real one, not the warehouse, the mechanic shop, full-time with benefits. They know about my history, but they're giving me a chance anyway. Lucas, that's wonderful, Evelyn said. I also wanted to tell you. I'm 47 days sober today. 47 days of choosing to be better. I know it's not enough to make up for 5 years. I know I have years of making amends ahead of me. But I'm taking it one day at a time. Don't be proud yet. Just keep believing I can do it. Even when I don't believe it myself, I will. After they hung up, Evelyn sat in the gathering darkness thinking about the journey that brought her here. She had opened her door one terrifying night to a stranger in a storm. She had saved a child's life. She had been judged, gossiped about, betrayed by her own son. But she had also found family in unexpected places. She had learned that love isn't always soft. Sometimes love means setting boundaries, saying no, choosing yourself. She had discovered that the people society fears most often have the biggest hearts. A motorcycle rumbled up the street. Ethan was back. Forgot Oliver's backpack, he explained, jogging up the porch steps. It's on the kitchen table. He paused. You okay? You look thoughtful. I was just thinking about that night, the blizzard. You knock on my door. The night that changed everything. Yes, Evelyn smiled. I was so scared. But I opened the door anyway. And I'll be grateful for that every day of my life. Ethan sat down beside her. You know what Oliver said today? He said, Daddy, I don't remember Mommy's face anymore, but I remember her love because Grandma Evelyn shows me what it looks like. Tears filled Evelyn's eyes. He said that. You've given him something I couldn't, a grandmother's love, a sense of family beyond just me. You've given me the same thing, a reason to live fully instead of just existing. They sat in comfortable silence as darkness fell. I should go, Ethan said finally. But I'll see you Tuesday. Oliver wants to help you plant those roses. I'll be here. After he left, Evelyn went inside. She looked at Sir Cuddles on the mantel, the Hell's Angels honorary patch framed on the wall, and the plaque by her door that read, Mother of Angels. She looked at Harold, picture. I did it, she told him. I lived just like you asked me to. I lived big and brave and full. She imagined him smiling. That night, Evelyn slept peacefully in her safe, repaired house. Her 5 new locks secured, her security system active, but more than that, her heart was finally at peace. She had opened her door to a stranger and found a family. She had let go of her son and given him space to save himself. She had learned that love isn't about holding on. It's about knowing when to open your hands. And in the morning, she would wake up and live another day. Not waiting for anyone, not afraid of anyone, just living. Because that's what Harold had asked. That's what she had promised Ethan and Oliver. That's what she had finally learned to do for herself. The door was always open to those who needed help. But it was also strong enough to close against those who would cause harm. And Evelyn Brooks, 71 years old, widow, grandmother by choice, had finally learned the difference. If this story moved you, please subscribe for more kind and powerful stories. Watch our next video for another unforgettable journey. And share this story with someone who needs it today.